Made popular on the West Coast, but working its way into many local markets, tri-tip is oddly shaped, a little lean, and big on beefy flavor. Today we're cooking up a reverse seared tri-tip using the Sloan Sear and Kettle Grill. Coming up. Hey, welcome back to Adrenaline Barbecue. I'm Jabin Postal, and today at the grill, we're gonna show you how to cook up the perfect tri-tip using the Sloan Sear and cold grate technique. And just like always, I'm gonna put all the show notes as well as the full recipe in the description box below, so make sure to click down there to see everything that you need for this cook. Tri-tip is a crescent-shaped muscle from the bottom sirloin and has the same great sirloin beef flavor that you know and love. It can be a little more challenging to cook evenly because of its irregular shape, but when done right, you will have a tender and juicy tri-tip every single time. To prepare tri-tip, start off by applying salt the night before the cook, which is referred to as dry brining. Use a half a teaspoon of kosher salt for every pound of meat, making sure to cover all the sides. This is going to help enhance flavor and keep the tri-tip juicy. Once the tri-tip has been salted, place it in the fridge uncovered overnight, or if you have the time, you can even do 2 nights as it will help further tenderize the meat. Alright, so we dry brined this tri-tip about 24 hours ago, and you can see that the surface has darkened slightly and the salt has penetrated into the tri-tip, and it's now time to apply our rub. First, we're going to spray a little bit of oil onto both sides of the tri-tip. Then after that, we're going to generously apply some of our BBQ Rub. And the rub we're using today is listed in the description if you want to try it out. On this other tri-tip, we're also prepping it with our oil and BBQ Rub, but we've waited until now to apply the salt so we can compare the two in our taste test to see the flavor difference between the tri-tip that's been dry brined and the one that's been freshly salted. With our tri-tips all ready for the grill, it's now time to set up our Sloan Sear 2.0 for a low and slow cook. We've set up our Kettle Grill and Sloan Sear 2.0 for indirect cooking at 225 degrees, and we did this by placing 25 briquettes into the Sloan Sear and a little bit of cherry and hickory wood chips over the hot coals. Now that our grill is up to temperature and we have nice clean smoke coming out, it's time to get our tri-tips smoking on the indirect cooking zone. We'll monitor the pit and both meat temps using our new 4-probe XR50 leave-in thermometer. Check down in the description box for a video link for more information on that. When our tri-tips hit 90 degrees, we're going to flip them just to promote some even cooking, then continue to smoke them until they reach about 120 degrees. Our tri-tips have just hit an internal temperature of 90 degrees, and so we're going to open up the lid and give them a flip. You can see that it's cooking along nicely, and it won't be much longer before these tri-tips reach 120 degrees when we pull them off in preparation for a final sear. Now, after about 55 minutes total time, our tri-tips have reached an internal temperature of 120 degrees, so it's time to pull them and get our grill set up for our reverse sear. To do that, we need to clean the grate and then set it off to the side to cool off. Next, we'll remove the reservoir to increase the size of our sear zone. For safety reasons, we only recommend doing this when the Sloan Sear is at a low temperature. Lastly, we'll add about 3/4 of a chimney of fully lit charcoal into the Sloan Sear in preparation for our final sear. With our coals hot and ready to go, we'll place our clean grate back onto the grill along with our tri-tip on the indirect side, and then quickly spin our easy spin grate so that our meat is directly over the coals. We'll now sear these tri-tips using our cold grate technique for 1 minute on each side 2 times, followed by searing the thicker edge for about 30 to 60 seconds. Each time we're spinning the grate, exposing a new section of our cold grate. This is our last flip, and you can see that this tri-tip looks amazing, and I can tell you it smells phenomenal. And with that, we're going to take off our tri-tip and confirm our internal temperatures. We're looking for 125 to 127 when they come off the grill, as they're gonna heat up a bit from carryover heat. In a few minutes, they'll be 130 degrees, and when that happens, we'll be ready for the taste test. All right, these look and smell incredible, and with that perfect sear on the outside of the entire tri-tip, I know these are gonna taste awesome. And so let's cut into, first of all, the one that we dry brined overnight and give it a taste. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut against the grain, and so we can see it's running this way as well as over here. And so we're gonna slice it down the center here. Wow, that looks awesome. All right, so the first thing I noticed is that this tri-tip is literally swimming in juices. It smells awesome. Let's give it a taste. Here we go. Man, that tri-tip is incredible. It's so juicy. It's full of flavor, that it's perfectly seasoned all throughout, and the juices are just literally running everywhere. All right, let's move on to the tri-tip that we salted just prior to the cook and slice into it. Again, we're gonna cut against the grain here, so we're gonna slice it about right there. Wow, that's perfect again. So the first impression is that these look to be cooked very, very similar. They're both medium rare. There's lots of juices flowing everywhere. And so let's give it a taste and see what we notice. This tri-tip is also really, really good. The biggest difference, so however, between the dry brined tri-tip and the one we salted today is the flavor. The saltiness that you taste in this one is on the surface. Then when you taste the inside of the meat, it's a little bit more subdued and less beefy flavor. Because that salt isn't pulling out that natural flavor that's in the tri-tip like this one is. It's still fairly juicy and tender, but the flavor and tenderness of this dry brine tri-tip is literally way better. So there you have it, a perfectly cooked reverse seared tri-tip. With its big, bold, natural flavors, this tri-tip is sure to impress anyone. And when you're able to plan ahead, a 24-hour dry brine just makes this even more magnificent. Hey, if you like what we're doing on this channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well as leave a comment down below. I'm Jabin with Adrenaline Barbecue Company, where we didn't invent the kettle, we perfected it. See you next time.